Having car problems? Well, with Rhoda, getting them fixed is as easy as ordering takeout. They'll come pick up your car for free, do any repair or maintenance needed, and return it right to your driveway. They'll even give you a complimentary video inspection of your car so you can see what needs to be done. Perfect for those of us that maybe aren't so car savvy. Book your appointment online at roda.com. And lucky for you, CityCast listeners get a 20% discount on any service for up to $100 off. Just use the code CityCast20.
Hey folks, our next live taping is Wednesday, October 9th at the Black Cat. Come join us to learn about the juiciest election stories of the year, from the fierce clash over ranked choice voting to an indicted council member's scandalous re-election bid with zero competition. It's going to be hosted by us, CityCast DC, with Michael Schaefer and Bridget Todd, and we've got special guest Tom Sherwood from WAMU. Check out the link in our description to get tickets. See you there. Today on CityCast DC. So I know Congress Heights as the home of the Washington Mystics and the entertainment and sports arena, but that's a pretty limited view of one of the most eclectic neighborhoods in the district. Artist and business owner Keyonna Jones and CityCast DC contributor Austin Graff are here to break down everything there is to know about Congress Heights. Plus, think you know French wine? How about French spirits? By the end of today's episode, you'll be in the know. Our sponsor, Alliance Française, is here to share insider secrets about both and give you the scoop on exciting events that they have lined up this fall. Today is Thursday, September 19th. I'm senior producer Julia Karen, in for Michael Schaefer, and here's what DC is talking about. Keyonna, Austin, thanks so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, here we are.
Yeah. All right. So, Austin, you have created a 131 counted list neighborhood guide. Every neighborhood in DC is on there. But today we're talking about Congress Heights. And for folks who don't know where that is on a map, can you pinpoint it for us?
Yeah, of course. Yeah. So Congress Heights is in Ward 8. And so it's in the more like southern tip of Washington, D.C. Again, D.C. used to be kind of a perfect symmetrical kind of square on its side until Virginia took back its land for many reasons, but mainly due to the fact that they wanted to continue to enslave people, and D.C. was trying to outlaw that. And so if you look at the map of current D.C., it's a very more the southern part of Washington, D.C., and it's in Ward 8, which is close. I live in Ward 8 as well, in a neighborhood called Fairlawn. So it's a neighborhood that I often go to just because it's close to my house.
Yes, I always like to say, we are the anchor of DC. Like you said, we're on the southern tip of everything. We're right across the bridge. So everybody knows about Sousa Bridge, or what they now call like Anacostia Bridge, just because
across the Anacostia River.
Across the bridge. So that's what makes us so different. We are east of the river, so you have to cross the bridge to come see us.
Yeah. So, Keyonna, you're a local of Congress Heights. There's kind of been a ton of talk about how over the last decade, DC is sort of losing its chocolate city status. It's like slowly fading away when that's what it was known for. And it's also about Black people being displaced and priced out of neighborhoods. But that's not the story of Congress Heights, right?
The conversation about gentrification, and I try to remind people, just like anything, there are dualities. There's the good and there's the bad. And we got to take both. There's light and dark. And I think Congress Heights has done a great job of taking some of the bad, but turning it around and ingesting in the good. So we've done a lot of development over the last few years, also with our neighbors in Anacostia, which is also east of the river. We've got some new developments. We've got some new restaurants. And yeah, it's not just a negative story here for us in Congress Heights.
For sure. What to you makes Congress Heights tick? Like, what is the thing about this neighborhood for you that makes it like, yes, I gotta be here. It's the place to be.
Yeah, for me, I mean, born and raised Southeast DC, it's still home. Like we said, there's so much that has changed over the years, but in Congress Heights, you know that you are there. Some of our elders are still there from forever. There's a lot of generational wealth, including my space. We have Congress Heights Arts and Culture Center that my father used to live in. My siblings grew up there. And so it still feels a lot like home. It feels new, but it's still home.
What is the vibe? Like, I'm a noob. If I go there, what should I expect? Is it more residential? Is it a little more commercial? Like, give me the lay of the land for a noob like me.
Yeah, for sure. For the noobs, we are definitely residential. We're an outside culture. We're not even just on the porches. We're on the corners sometimes. We're on the sidewalk. We're outside in the neighborhood. As I like to say, Southside, we outside. But the other thing that we talked about, with gentrification and new developments, there are a lot of new commercial spaces that are coming. And I think that's sometimes what my community kind of struggles with, is trying to figure out the new spaces that are coming. Is it for them? So it's a little mix of everything. But there's a lot of family. And like Austin said, if you come correct, then we'll receive you just as well.
But I will say, like, compared to, so a lot of people who don't live what's kind of been quite east of the river, they often will recognize Anacostia, for example, or maybe Deanwood or Congress Heights. But there are dozens and dozens of neighborhoods in east of the river. And a lot of them have amazing gems and some like takeout spots that are phenomenal. But a lot of them are very much just residential. Congress Heights, it is very residential, but you do have a number of businesses around like MLK Avenue. Like one comes to mind, like MLK Deli, for example, this like great deli that also kind of has a Deanwood Deli way north in Ward 7. And they have amazing like subs, crab cake sandwiches. It's in a basement of a row house. So you do have a number of businesses in Congress Heights that you may not find in some neighboring neighborhoods that I think will continue to bring people to Congress Heights.
Speaking of some of that new development, I know, Austin, we've been trying to keep track of this Sycamore and Oak development that's been happening. I know it's open, but what is this and why is it a valuable space in Congress Heights?
Yeah, honestly, it's one of my favorite spots. And actually, Keyonna, you have a space inside, right?
I do. My mural's right out front when you come there. The big blue faces, I painted that. And then we also have Southside Creative, our retail store there.
Oh, that's so sick.
Yeah, so it's beautifully designed. The person that helped design the African American History and Culture Museum also designed this. And it is a like Black-owned, Black-run space for Black creatives and entrepreneurs. And they do weekly events that are really fun for the community. And I do like to call it, it's a phenomenal space that really is for the community, by the community. And when people do visit it who aren't from the community, that's kind of the posture they should enter into this space. So I love it, but Congress Heights, even though I love it, it's not my neighborhood. I live just north in Fairlawn. So I always want to enter that space. I'm like, okay, this is kind of a sacred space that I need to respect going into it. And as I've explored all these different neighborhoods, the most friendly neighborhoods have been in Southeast DC, to be honest, of people, at least in my neighborhood. And I think Congress Heights is similar. This porch culture is still strong, where people will kind of just sit on their porch and even just talk to people and just say hi to you, even if it's clear that you don't live in the neighborhood. And that's something I really appreciate, and I hope never gets lost in Southeast. And I think Keyonna specifically helps embody that, and she builds that. And I think Sycamore and Oak contributes to that in a great way.
Thank you so much, Austin. You're so amazing.
No, it's true. It's true. It really is, honestly. And like, it's a big reason why I've stayed in DC for so long, is because of that. And I think it's something that should be respected, especially about Congress Heights.
And I think Austin highlighted such an important part about Sycamore and Oak. Like, we are bringing FUBU back, which is for us, by us. It is literally our tagline, as a space for us. As you go on the other side of the bridge, you have places like Union Market, and you can walk around, and there's a lot of stores. Southside is a desert for all things. A desert for grocery stores, a desert for restaurants, a desert for retail. So this is a development, and the developments that are coming behind it. It is a place and a space that we can create for our own in Southside that we've never had, that you can see as soon as you cross the bridge, but we've never had it on our side. So it's a little mix of everything, but there's a lot of family. And like Austin said, if you come correct, then we'll receive you just as well.
Let's be real, lawsuits are not fun, but with Paulson & Nace, at least they're a little easier. Paulson & Nace is a DC law firm in every sense of the word. It was founded here in 1979. Partner Chris Nace is a local who cares deeply about the DC community, even serving on the board of the local branch of the Living Classrooms Foundation in his free time. Nace and his associates Samantha Peters and Maya Perry handle medical malpractice, wrongful death, and other complex injury cases. And they don't just settle every case. They'll go to court. They'll fight for you. Paulson & Nace has even been recognized as one of U.S. News' best law firms. So if you have been hurt or lost a loved one because of someone else's mistake or negligence, call Paulson & Nace for a no-obligation consultation. Visit www.paulsonandnace.com. That's PAULSONANDNACE.com. Or call 202-463-1999. So lately, the weather in DC has been downright wacky sometimes. Tornadoes, crazy flooding, bad air quality, so much of it feels out of control. But I recently learned that September is National Preparedness Month, and it is a good reminder to make your emergency plan if you haven't yet. The yearly preparedness campaign was started by the Federal Emergency Management Agency, or FEMA, and they have a bunch of tips on their website to get you started. It's ready.dc.gov/NPM2024. One of the best ways to prepare is to make sure you have a way of staying informed, not just by listening to CityCast DC. Sign up for free email or text alerts from district officials on weather, traffic, public safety, and more by visiting alert.dc.gov. Another tip, build your emergency kit over time. Purchase one extra item each time you shop. A checklist is available at ready.dc.gov/kit. Take time now to prepare because later is too late. Everything you need is at ready.dc.gov.
Yeah, so Keyonna, you touched a little bit about some of the gripes that you have with Congress Heights. When you think about big changes on the horizon for this neighborhood, like what are you hoping to see this neighborhood become?
Oh, good question. I will say in transparency that because of the way I was raised, my father was best friends with Marion Barry, and his widow, Miss Cora Mastersbury, is actually my godmother. So I'm I'm tied into the politics a little bit more than some of my peers are, which also helps me to know the things that are coming. So I'm looking forward to one more residential housing that is affordable. You know, our housing crisis is crazy all over the city, but I think we have a big problem definitely in east of the river that I would love to see, that we have some just different versions of housing that everybody can be a part of. Definitely want to see more stores like myself, Southside Creative, and the stores that are Sycamore and Oak. Definitely want to have more food options. I'm a little bit between Ward 7 and Ward 8, so I get to see a little bit more of the spread between Skyland and Anacostia and Congress Heights. And for me, of course, being an artist, I want to see more public art. I'm really excited about more of the murals, more of the sculptures, because I really believe that art saves lives, and I understand what beautification does for a neighborhood, not just making it pretty, but also the energy and the feel that it brings. So I'm definitely looking forward to that. But most importantly, I'm looking forward to the residents that are there now being able to still be there and reap the benefits of what's coming new. Making sure that we're getting into more home ownership, we're getting into, more engagement in terms of how our city and how our neighborhoods are happening so that we can reap the benefits and not always be in this conversation of displacement.
Yeah, I know one of those developments that's coming up is the old St. Elizabeth's campus. There's been a lot of conversation about what do you make of that space, who gets to stay there. How does the community feel about that space and what's projected to come there?
So while we talked about Sycamore and Oak is on the St. Elizabeth campus. There's so many different parcels of St. Elizabeth, and I think they've already kind of started that conversation and tried to create the relationship with community by doing affordable housing that's there. So I know a lot of people that over the last 2 summers so far have moved onto the campus. And I think even in that, because the history of St. Elizabeth is kind of gets a little spooky and stuff like that. So now the nice housing and Sycamore and Oak coming there, the hospital that is there, it's just changing the feel of everything. So I think, again, as they develop, I hope everyone keeps engaging community to know what we want, what we don't like, all those things. And we can all come to a common ground where everybody can enjoy everything.
All right. So I know Congress Heights as the place where the Mystics play at the Entertainment and Sports Arena. I'm a big Sticks fan. Go Sticks. Pax is the best mascot in the game. But for both of you, what's the first thing that you think of when someone wants to visit Congress Heights? What are your recommendations?
Honestly, a lot. I think to piggyback off of what Keyonna was saying, I really do appreciate public art, especially public art that incorporates the community, that employs artists who live in the neighborhood in which you'll find their art. And there are actually, every neighborhood, in my opinion, could use more. But compared to other neighborhoods nearby, I think Congress Heights has some really great murals already, and some amazing kind of restored call boxes, for example. Even in people's like yard, there's one house that's owned by a family, that's this great family, that has a mural of Lauryn Hill, which is awesome. You kind of just stumble upon it as you meander throughout the neighborhood. And so I would love to see kind of like more of that. And they, like, one of my favorite murals to see, which if you go to the heart of Congress Heights along MLK Avenue, you'll see it. It's of Dorothy Heights. And that's just a beautiful, beautiful mural. It's really close to a historic fire station that is designed in just a beautiful way from many years ago. And then something that I actually really like and appreciate is, one, Keyonna's organization, Congress Heights Arts and Cultural Center. They do a lot of different just community building events. There's some amazing art inside and out there. And then there's a really interesting gallery, the Anacostia Art Gallery and Boutique is a Black woman-owned gallery, and she sells a lot of different decor and art. And even if you go when it's closed, definitely go when it's open. But even if you go when it's closed, there's a lot of interesting art that's in just outside the building, outside of the house. And so despite its name, it's called Anacostia Art Gallery and Boutique. It is in Congress Heights. And that's definitely worth going to. So those are my kind of go-to. Just kind of start at maybe MLK Deli and just go north and south and just kind of look at all the different art around. And art really is everywhere, especially in Congress Heights. But we could always use more.
Exactly. Always use more. And of course, I have to shout out again, highlight my spot, Congress Heights Arts and Culture Center. We do classes and workshops for all ages. I say 5 to 105 again, because I believe art saves lives, and it's one of those universal languages that everybody can benefit from, especially in our neighborhood where words don't always serve how we feel. And we feel a lot on that side. Of course, Sycamore and Oak, like we mentioned, we're open every day except for Monday. Like Austin said, we have live music. We have karaoke where the stage is yours and the community is your audience. It's also a co-working space, so you can go there and just chill, get food. We have a mezzanine level. There's a full functioning gym finally now that we have a gym in Southeast. Shout out to Joe Houston and We Fit. Just come check us out. And there's a lot developing. I mean, there's a lot there now, but there's a lot coming. So just keep your eye on us.
I mean, there's so many different like things. Like, for example, like you could go like the Blue Aquatic Center if you like to swim. And then if you like history, honestly, just wandering around the St. Elizabeth campus, the East Campus, kind of where Sycamore and Oak is really interesting. A lot of different like buildings that are trying to be like preserved. And there's a lot of events that kind of go on throughout that space.
I would say the well at Oxen Run isn't too far from us either. It's a great garden space where it's like family friendly and you can garden and learn. They have classes there. We even have classes there, and that's a really dope spot you can check out that's close to us.
There are a number of like little free libraries too. Like one that comes to mind is outside where Ward 8 Woods Conservancy is. Their headquarters is in Congress Heights. And they have a cool like little free library, and their work is phenomenal. They're trying to restore the 500 acres of forest in Ward 8 specifically. And as you like kind of wander throughout Congress Heights, you'll see kind of signs up asking to protect the nature of the neighborhood. That's one of their initiatives that they do among so many others. They also do tours as well. There's that, and then a lot of different parks. So there used to be some Civil War defenses in Congress Heights. And so one is called Fort Carroll, which I think has a really beautiful view of the city from in the winter when all the leaves have fallen. Though I will say, I recently was in Fort Carroll and I saw a bobcat there.
Wow.
Isn't that wild? I know. So I literally, it was right after I got my like dog. So it was a puppy. And bobcats don't harm humans, but they do go after squirrels and like small dogs. And about once a year, someone calls to report a sighting. And again, they don't hurt humans, but that is one of the reported spots.
Mixed with red, we have red foxes here every now and then too.
Yep.
So if you want your nature spotting, Congress Heights, the place.
Yeah.
If you ever needed to see bobcats.
Totally. Which is interesting because like that area is kind of along a major street. So it's like, it's pretty busy, but yeah, bobcat sightings are there.
So I'm loving some of these recommendations. What else do you guys have in terms of what to do, what to eat, what to drink? Lay it all on me.
Like I said, we are a desert. So where you're going to go is right now, it's the Sycamore and Oak. We got everything you need. We have a full functioning bar that's run by Dion's. And then Dion's has her restaurant as well. She has crab cakes and crab fries and salads and whatnots. We have Glizzy there. He has vegan hot dogs. There is Bonatop. They handle the breakfast for you, and they also have ice cream now that is real hot, so you can get your breakfast and your coffee and your ice cream. DC Tracy's is there, so you can get your Caribbean food taste, your fish sandwiches and your jerk chickens and your oxtail. Did I catch everybody? Yeah, that's come to Sycamore and Oak.
Yeah, but that really is, again, if you're familiar with like Union Market or Tastemakers in Brooklyn or some other spaces that kind of are known as food halls, it's kind of a similar makeup. And so you'll go in and there's a number of stands, and I've tried food from every single one of them, and there is something to order in every single one. And there's also a kind of small grocery store and market inside as well that you can grab snacks at and grab to-go drinks. And then there are actually a number of takeout spots. I think DC has a really good takeout scene, especially in Ward 7 and 8. And some people may push back on this, but I actually enjoy Hong Kong Delight, which is a Chinese takeout spot in Congress Heights. And so definitely, there's a number of those options as well.
Of course, we want to re-highlight Ty over at MLK Deli. He was probably one of the very first people to take a chance in Southeast and build a restaurant. And like Austin mentioned, he's expanded over into Northeast now. So definitely MLK Deli, get you a nice little crab cake there too.
Yeah, so how do you get there from across the river? What's the best way to get to Congress Heights?
There's so many different options, but if we start on the train, that would be the easiest way. Just jump yourself on the Green Line and get off at Congress Heights Station. And once you get off right at Congress Heights Station, you're actually right at Sycamore and Oak. You walk right around the corner, and there's Sycamore and Oak, and then you can follow your way through St. Elizabeth, and it'll take you over to MLK Avenue, where you'll see some of the things that we were talking about, from my art gallery to the Anacostia Gallery Shop and some few other things.
Yeah, but you could also take a number of buses there as well. And then my go-to transportation is always Capital Bike Share. I'm a proud original member of Capital Bike Share. And I've been a huge advocate for getting more docks east of the river from the beginning. And there are a number of them throughout Congress Heights now. So you can easily check out a Capital Bike Share and explore that way, or honestly on foot as well. It's a very walkable neighborhood.
All right, you're selling me on this, but Keyonna, why is Congress Heights the best neighborhood in DC? Pitch it to me, sell it to me.
Whoa, Congress Heights is the best neighborhood in DC because we are authentic. What you see is what you get. We are family, we are friendly, but we also stand on business. We are creative, we're full of culture, and then we're just a hidden gem. I think there's so many places, like Austin mentioned, that get highlighted across the bridge for like our neighbors, Anacostia. Most people just hear Big Chair and Anacostia and they think that's all of east of the river. But Congress Heights, we've really been striving literally over the last 10 years to really make it different. And I think we jumped into it mostly with Art All Night, which I want to shout out. It's coming back in September, the biggest party that's happening all year. I may be a little biased, but Congress Heights has the best Art All Night, period, hands down. So I think we've just been doing work. And I think, again, a hidden gem, and some of the best things are kept secrets. And I would say that is Congress Heights for sure.
And I will second that. Art All Night in Congress Heights is the place to be. And that's actually a really good excuse to go. So I would definitely mark that on your calendar.
Yeah, come check us out. September 29th. I'll have the art gallery popping. The streets will be open. Vendors, food, kid things, kid friendly, all the things, all the way until probably 3 o'clock in the morning. So come see us.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. I am convinced now that I should be going to Congress Heights more often.
Come to Southside. We'll see you soon.
And listener, don't go anywhere. In just a second, our sponsor, Alliance Française, is about to reveal 3 events you have to attend this fall, celebrating the finer things in life. So stick around.
Hey, I'm CityCast Priyanka Telve here with Sarah Diligenty. She's Alliance Française's executive director. Sarah, so good to see you again.
Good to see you again, Priyanka. Thanks for inviting me again.
Yeah, of course. I was actually just thinking about you because the other day I was at a restaurant in DC and we were looking at the wine list. There were a bunch of French wines, and every time I encounter something where I'm like, I don't understand this French thing, or I don't know enough about this French thing, I think of Alliance Française.
Well, yeah, we're here to help. We could educate people about wine, about French language and French culture.
Yeah, actually, on the subject of wine, do you have anything coming up? Do you do events about wine and alcohol? I know about the language classes and stuff, but what about wine and spirits?
Actually, we have one on October 17. We have a spirit tasting. It's nothing to do with Halloween, not that kind of spirit. It's a hard, alcohol.
Yeah.
It's 3 different Armagnac, 3 different Cognac, and 3 different rum. And all of them are aged or, in different ways. So we have a guided spirit tasting with Maison Baron François. They are quite famous for this kind of tasting. So we were happy to have them on the 17th of October at Alliance Française.
Who is the person leading the class? Like, what are their qualifications?
Well, Mahé is from the southwest of France, like me, is born and bred, I would say, in vineyards around Bordeaux.
Wow.
So that is very important. So he has a very good nose, and he knows a lot about the region and the wine. So he has a training into that, thanks to his family and also professionally.
Okay, very cool. How much does the event cost?
It's 65 for members and 75 for non-members. It's a small fundraiser for us. And there will be nibbles, okay? Because I'm not going to let everybody taste all these spirits without any food.
Okay, yeah. Very smart. Very smart.
I would say it's better to have dinner before, because this is the kind of spirit that you will have, especially Cognac and Armagnac, after dinner.
Okay. So for the authentic experience.
Yeah.
Absolutely. That's cool. I love that you do that. What other kinds of events do you guys have that aren't language classes coming up soon?
On the September 19th, we have a very interesting event all about nuclear power and sustainable development. We will have the nuclear advisor of the French embassy in DC that will be here coming to talk to us about this topic, because I remember the time when 1979 I was in Ohio. I was an exchange student, and there was a 3 Mile Island incident that was before Chernobyl. Okay, Chernobyl was 1986, and I remember how they kept us inside for a few days because they didn't know whether there had been such a big leak or anything. And nowadays, with climate change, we may have to rethink nuclear power to try to use it to help with climate change. So that's going to be a very interesting conversation and presentation.
Wow. Yeah. The range of events that you have astounds me. That's so different from wines and spirits.
We have some events in French, some events in English, because we like, people think that, Alliance Française, they speak in English about France. No, but we do have to have events in French for those who want to practice their French and to listen to more French. But we also have events in English for those people who are fascinated or interested by French culture in general, or the French-speaking world in general, but they don't have the level, at language level required to understand that kind of conversation in French directly. So that's why we mix. We have 50% events in English and 50% events in French.
Okay, so we've got climate change and nuclear power. We've got wines and spirits. Give me one more event. What else do you have coming up the pike?
We have a fantastic event coming up on the 10th of October, which may change the history, the architectural history, and certainly the diplomatic history of DC. Because we have one of our dear member and former student, Skip Mosky, who is a historian. He's already written a book about the Anderson House, where the Society of Cincinnati is based. But he discovered the 4 houses in which the first French diplomatic couple lived in DC between 1801 and 1805. And that is about to make waves in DC. That's all I can say.
Oh, man, that's a real teaser. Okay. I have so many questions, but I guess I have to come to the event. Is that what you're saying?
Yes, and they will be in English, so you will understand everything.
Okay. All right, Sarah, you've left me on the edge of my seat here. Where can people find all of the events that you offer?
They can find them on our website at www.francedc.org.
Sarah, thanks so much for being here.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Again, check out francedc.org to learn more. We'll have that link in our show notes as well, so you're just a click away. Thanks for listening.
That's all for today here on CityCast DC. If you enjoyed the show, let's all go to Congress Heights together. We'll be back tomorrow morning with more news from around the city. Bye.